Alright, hey, niggas got me out here high in the motherfucker. So, hey, Tumblr, let's talk about something. Some shit. So, Tumblr is very black and white from what I've. I mean, it's pretty obvious like, that anybody who's been on Tumblr more than a day, there's no gray area for Tumblr. Uh, my teeth are all fucked up right now. I need to brush my teeth. What does that mean? But there's a topic I've like purposely stayed away on. Like the past couple times I've seen it, I have like real strong feelings both ways about it. So let's talk about it because it's a real thing, and so let's discuss it. So, so there's been these posts going around, both started by like both sides about certain type of niggas, and that nigga is, oh, I don't like black women because I liked nerdy shit and they didn't like me. And then of course, like Black Tumblr roast their ass to pieces as they have the right to. But like, let's dig a little deeper into that because like there are some real nuances to that. Like, okay, so the acceptability of nerdy shit in the African American or black diaspora is a very recent thing, and so let's stop pretending like it's not. It's a very recent, like I want to say within the last decade, no more than 2006. Um, Before then, you depending on where you were in the United States, you sentenced yourself to being a pariah in the black community if you openly enjoyed certain things, considered nerdy or white. Alright, so we act like white people are the only ones who like racially designate certain things when we do that shit all the time. And that was definitely one of them. So as a young black kid, I certainly felt the backlash of that. Black girls didn't like me because I didn't openly like nerdy shit, but I always liked black girls. I still like black girls. So where does like somebody like me split off for some self-hating ass nigga? Well, I think it's a matter of chance and no matter how you grow up. Um, you have to first realize that what you're doing and what you're seeking and what you're looking at isn't just wasn't just black people rebelling against nerdy shit. Yeah, I mean, I was born in the '80s, so I grew up in the '90s, and so with that, you have to understand that there was still a huge like stigma of being middle class in the black community because it reminded certain people it was a weird self divide. Even like I would think even bigger than the light skin, dark skin self divide in the black community. It reminded people of things they didn't have, and so a self defense mechanism of that is to rebel against it. And I grew up very middle class. I grew up with two parents who specifically wanted me to grow up in a suburban community, wanted me to go to suburban schools, and I was raised a certain way. And when we say nerdy shit, it's really like stuff that we have like access to. So when you think about it, you don't have access to Dragon Ball Z when you're in the hood and you don't have like but 5 channels if you have a TV at all. And this is the early '90s where the internet isn't everywhere, so you have to remember that. Like where the internet is everywhere now, where you can get Wi-Fi for $40 a month, no matter where you are, that access is everywhere. 1997, it wasn't. So like I had cable, I had cable as a kid, man. So like I would see certain things and be exposed to certain things. I remember Saturday anime on the Sci-Fi Channel. My nigga, like I remember that, and that type of shit is real. Like it drew me in, and like because it's something that certain black kids didn't have access to, they didn't see it as black, and I think like that's a weird thing to understand. Um, because like whatever in my head when I was growing up, whatever I liked was black because I was black. So I credit that to my parents because I really didn't have a lot of like self identity issues like like that. I figured out my blackness at my own pace, and it took a while, but I never ran from it. It was a basic identity of who I was, and it was learning to get my blackness to be accepted by other black people, and that was a very very hard thing. It didn't happen until 2008. I remember the exact moment it happened, and I'm not going to go into it because that's not the point of it. But what we have, honestly, is we have. So I went off on a little bit of a tangent, which is why I knew I would need this whole 5 minutes, and I'm already at six. Some shit. So this is gonna have to be a two-parter. But here we go. So you have young black kids who, on the on the threat of being outcasted or whatever by their own community, to not like this. So you either suppress that shit or you rebel against what the general consensus of blackness. And I know there are a lot of people who are like, oh, well, how does that turn into like not liking black people when you're older? And like, honestly, as much as we want to be like, oh, well, you need to suck it up and get over that shit. Like when I was 16, I got the shit stomped out of me because I spoke different. Like I got my jaw cracked into three places because my parents didn't like me. My parents made me put the ERs on the end of words when I grew up. That's literally it. They didn't like the way I spoke. I was playing basketball and they beat the shit out of me. And like I didn't because I think of how I was as a kid. I have a very very acute sense of right and wrong. So I don't I've never been one to blame a community for a single person's actions. So that never turned into me hating black people. But I mean, it did. It was rough. It was rough, and you can't expect people to just let go of that. Like I still think about that and get mad. I'm almost 30. This happened 15 years ago, but I still think about that incident, and it pisses me off. And I mean, emotions are strong. Emotions are deep. Emotions are just a tough thing, and they're always going to stick with you. And as a young black man, a black kid, a black boy, that was very, very. We're already told not to fucking deal with our emotions, so now we have this, and so we push it away, and it manifests into other things. So, like I said, black girls didn't like black people. Black girls didn't like me all that much growing up. Granted, I wasn't necessarily looking for. In fact, I wasn't looking for girls who were into the same shit I was. I liked what the colloquialism is, and I hate this term, but I think like it's the only way I can think that like the only word I can say that I think everybody will get like the same picture, and I'm only gonna use it once. But I like rats growing up. I like little around the way girls growing up, and when you just this real proper speaking type of cat from the south, and people just don't like that's not what they're looking for. So I did what I did. I mean, I adapted, which is what I do. So this is like the best case scenario for a young black kid because it's like I didn't as much as I like that stuff. I liked rap. I like basketball too. So like that was part of me growing up was learning how to combine those two worlds and whatever. So that was the best for a young black man. Imagine what that shit was like for black girls. Black girls are still not really allowed to express themselves how they want to, and so like yeah, those girls weren't around because they couldn't. I don't think they were allowed to express themselves like that back then. Like I said, I didn't meet a black girl who was into anime until like my sophomore year of college, and I went to a HBCU. So like, what's the truth? And I think the the eventuality of young black people, especially young black women, being able to express themselves in different avenues and to enjoy different things did not come later. And I think a lot of people forget that, or they want to forget that. And a lot of those people who are like, "Oh, you need to suck it up," were some of the first people back then to make fun of somebody for being different, for liking anime, for liking spaceship, Star Trek, and Star Wars, and all that shit. Like to who they were some of the first people, and like let's keep it a buck. A lot of the pro black movement or the internet pro black movement is built on those converted people, and they still hold a lot of those same deep prejudices of what it is to be black. And let's keep it a buck. If you're black, you're black. If you're not, you're not. It doesn't have anything to do with that. So on the flip side of that, I grew up with two black parents. Uh, Mostly everybody in my family is black. I mean, I have some other shit in me. Some Irish. My grandfather's mom is Irish, and some other shit. But some Native American from both sides, some other stuff. But for all intents and purposes, whenever anybody asks me, I'm black. That's all I've ever been. That's all I ever know. Like I do have an interest of learning some other parts of that, but like even if I did, I would still be black. It didn't change anything. I've never hated black people, man. Like it just never something that it was never an option for me. And I think a lot of it had to do with my parents were just really like good with making me understand how I was as a child. That didn't affect my blackness. My dad was a motherfucking like when he was a kid, he ran blocks. That's all he did. Like he had a family to take care of. He had three brothers. He had a mom. Like he had cousins in and out of his house. He ran blocks. He was working. Like he was working. So you know, it was important for me not to grow up like that. And my mom grew up in a stable household and a loving family, but she still wanted to. It was a small ass house with five kids. She wanted, to move out of that. And despite all of that, there was never one anti, like, as bad as my house got sometimes, we never had it was never anything bad spoken about race. Now, like, everybody in my family brown skin. Like, so, I mean, like, I got one light skin, I got a couple light skin cousins or whatever. But like I said, my grandfather was half white, but he was still like my color. So honestly, if you want to know the truth, like I don't think these people who end up hating white people, these niggas who be like, I'm not attracted to black women, don't have any strong black base around them. Like, and they do have, and the ones they do like allow this. They may not actively encourage this behavior, but they allow this behavior. But like, let me say some dumb shit like I don't like black women in my house. When they do like that's I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. But regardless, what we have on Tumblr is like an extreme version of a very delicate situation. So you have an era where the past decade these groups have been allowed to express themselves in a way that they weren't allowed to express themselves. I mean, I just wasn't allowed. Like, I I was okay. So I'm super privileged as an African American male because I grew up in a house where I was allowed to express myself like that. I was allowed to like things outside of the current Black or African American diaspora back then. But there were kids who couldn't afford that because they had a demeanor they had to keep for survival. You know, so like I mean like what you know about what kids were walking around their hood like must like bumping Queen, bruh, or they wanted to build the latest like Star Trek figurine, my nigga. Like it's it's not something we openly discuss, and now it's something we encourage. So I just want y'all to think about that because at the end of the day, like it's not so much as a self hate as it is like a huge disconnect from like trauma you had as a kid. And let's get it twisted. Don't get it twisted, yo. Like there are some kids who go through trauma having to deal with that, and you telling them to get over it or suck it up is going to have to deal with the fact that some real fucked up shit happened to them, and everybody deals with fucked up shit in a different situation, and this fucked up shit was directly like toward like pointed towards them not being black enough or like them not liking black things as a kid. So there's a visceral response into how they grow up and to the kids that weren't allowed to express themselves. So there's a weird level of resentment because they didn't have access or they didn't have the motherfucking man fucking there's the word, but they didn't have the shit. They just couldn't do it because of whatever their environment allowed. And that grows into this, and these kids have, and these people, some of these people have kids now, some of these people have younger brothers, and that environment festers. But you have to understand that there's a connection there. So when I see posts like that, I can't jump on them anymore because like it's fucking like it's too strong one way, and everything is deeply, deeply layered. That being said, I don't fucking tolerate the slander of black people or black women in anything. So hey, stop that shit because that shit is not cool. Like me coming here and saying this shit is not like a fucking excuse for you to be like, oh, you see, you see, he said it was okay, so I can slander them. Nah, bro, you still saying racist shit. You still have a lot of self hate. I'm gonna need you to get out your soul because like yeah, you do have to. I'm not saying let that shit go, but find out find the cause of it because black women ain't the cause of why you don't like no other black woman, my nigga. I'm sorry, nigga. That's some other shit. So think about that. This turned out to be a longer video. I'm gonna have to chop it into parts, my nigga. Chopper style, chopper style, chopper style, chop. You want chop. You mean I'm wild, but no. So honestly, just think about that because every little black kid grew up different, and we can't all expect to be the same 21, 25, 27, and 29-year-old that we currently are. They're going to be different. The way they view things is going to be different because of what they carry with them, especially black kids, especially black females. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get that word out of my vocabulary. Especially black women, because they had to carry a lot. Because, like I said, they didn't get to enjoy that shit openly until well after black kids. Like I can't even think of. I don't know one young black girl growing up, and even though I grew up in like a very suburbanized southern neighborhood, like there's still plenty of black kids. Man, this like it was a very good mix, honestly, until like high school. But I don't remember like But even like in like traditional shit, I don't remember no black girls in the Sailor Moon when I was in middle school. Like I don't, and that's not to say they didn't fucking exist. I honestly don't believe they had the luxury. That's the fucking word I was trying to think of. They didn't have the luxury to enjoy that shit openly, and that can create resentment on both sides. So think about that shit, nigga.